You know, I mean, to her, my daughter is her mother. Now, 4 or 5 years from now, when she grows older, she's going to notice the difference. And my daughter will have to explain that, you know, that she is, yes, she is her daughter, but she's not her biological daughter. You know, so, but right now the boy is young and he's confused. He doesn't understand how his father could have one color of skin and he could have a different color of skin. Little children, they don't process the way we would process. Now, what else confuses the little boy besides race? What else has him confused? It actually left him so confused that he cried himself to sleep one night. Yeah, he doesn't understand. Yeah, in the Christian church, the head of the church, the person who is responsible for the church, is referred to as father. Now, in that tradition, everybody knows that the father is not actually the father of all of the children, because in the Catholic Church, priests are celibate. But they're called father because they are responsible for, they take care of everyone in the church. They care about them the same way a parent would. So, but the boy didn't understand that. He doesn't get it. You know, he's just young. He's confused.
Teacher, he cries because he confused about his father. Why if I have cried?
Well, let's read it again. For the first time, one day. Well, see, he said at first he thought that Father Timothy was his real father. I mean, he didn't understand that he was an orphan and had been adopted. Now, he says, and so the young man, Ram, says, one day I asked him about it and he explained that I was an orphan child. For the first time, I understood the difference between father, which is what people call their priest, and a father of children in the family. So he learns for the first time that the man is not his real biological father, that he is an adopted child, and it made him sad.
So sad.
Yeah, it made him sad. It made him so sad that he cried himself to sleep. Now, because it was just how he had to learn the truth. Now, we'll have to read on into the story to see how he comes out of this. You know, a lot of things, when we grow up, there are a lot of things that we learn as we mature from being young to becoming older that at first confuse us. And then when we learn the truth, we don't really understand how to deal with that truth. And then we make our peace with it. You know, we make our peace with that truth. So we'll have to read the story and see how this works out. Let's see, where it says, Father Timothy was a wonderful priest. Let's see, Chop, is it your turn?
No.
Or is it Pip, your turn? Okay, I'm sorry.
Father Timothy was a wonderful priest. I saw him give money to poor people and visit the sick. He always had a smile on his face. I was 8 years old when he died. It was the birthday of my young life. It a story หลักแหลมสมัยตัดเสto me now. What happened to you then? I was sent to a children's home, I say. I see. She replied. She looks at my sadly for a moment. Then she said, now tell me about the first question. And his fish play on the DVD player. We sit and watch the first question from who will win it.
Okay, let's stop here and kind of review where we are and what's happening. So we know now that this was Ram telling the lawyer, Smita, S-M-I-T-A, we would say that, Smita. He's telling Smita, the lawyer, the story of his life. And he was an orphan, and at a very young age, at age 2, Father Timothy adopted him, took him to his home, but then Father Timothy died. He again had no parents, so he was taken to a children's home, another orphanage. A children's home would be just another way of saying orphanage. And you know what an orphanage is. It'd be where children who have no place to be, would go for safety and shelter and to be raised. So that's the story of his life so far. Now the lawyer, Smita, she wants to know whether he really did cheat on this quiz show or not. And so what she decided to do was to go back and play the DVD, and she's trying to get an idea of whether he really knew the answers to all these questions. Or she's trying to get to the truth. She's trying to get to the truth. So where it says Prem Kumar. Pew, would you start that paragraph for us, please?
Prem Kumar was the quiz present. He whispered to me from the first question. I asked you, what do the letter FBI mean? Have you heard of the FBI? No, I said, listen, we want you to win a little money so I can change the question. He says, I thought for a moment, I don't know about FBI, but I know what it means.
Well, the letters I-N-R-I. In English, when we see the letters all capitalized like that, what that tells us when we read is that it's not a word, it's just letters standing for several words. So when we see all of them in capitals like that, we would just pronounce the letters. I don't know about the FBI, but I know I-N-R-I, I said.
I said, it's written on the top of the crucifix in church. The quiz show began. Tonight we've got Mr. Lam Mohammed Thomas in the studio from our very own Mumbai. Prem Kumar said, what do you do, Mr. Thomas? I am waiter at Jimmy Bar and Restaurant. I explained, I see. Well, Mr. Thomas, you seem to have all the diligence in your name, so you may know the answer to this question.
Okay, thank you. Very good. So, fill me in here. What's happened so far? Where are we now? The quiz show has started. And the presenter, the person who hosts the show, his name is Prem Kumar. He asks Ram a question. What does the FBI stand for? And Ram doesn't know. And why would he? Who would know what the FBI stands for unless you're from America? Or you read American newspapers or English newspapers. He said, I don't know what FBI means, but I do know what INRI means. Because he remembered having seen those letters when he was a young boy. And we can guess. You see, this is where you sort of infer the meaning. When we read what the words tell us exactly, but we also infer meaning. By inferring meaning, we kind of guess what's happened because of what we've been told. And we do this all the time. You know, you can hear somebody say something, and even though they haven't told you the whole story, you know the rest of the story because you can infer the meaning. So we can infer that Ram probably knows a lot about world religions because he was raised by a religious person. So he probably knows a lot about the Christian church. He probably knows a lot about the Buddhist church, or Buddhist tradition. He knows a lot about different religions because of his life experience. But now, where does he work now? What does he do? How does he earn a living? He's a young man, and the presenter, Prem Kumar, says, well, what do you do now? And he answers him. What does he do? He's a waiter. Now he serves. He works at a bar. He's a servant. He's a servant. So here's a boy who was